Welcome back to Elements of Art and our unit on texture. I'm Natasha and I have another art question for you. Have you ever seen anything so fluffy you just couldn't help but touch it? Or wanted to touch a cactus so badly just to see how sharp it might feel? We briefly looked at the element of texture in our last lesson. Do you remember the distinction that we discussed between actual and visual? In this lesson, we will be focused on actual texture, which, as you may remember, is the real deal. It's what you can feel with your fingers. This type of touchable texture can be found in a variety of art forms, from the thick impasto brushstrokes in oil paintings to the intricate detail work in relief sculpture. In today's lesson, we'll explore the defining characteristics and basics of actual texture, view artistic applications of it, and learn some ways of creating actual textures with clay. Actual texture in art refers to the physical surface of a piece. This could be the roughness of a canvas, the smoothness of a casting, layers of paint. Artists use physical texture to add depth and tactile interest. Now, this lesson will talk quite a bit about how actual texture is how things really feel. But remember, in an art museum or gallery, touching the artworks is a no-no. It's a classic case of look but don't touch. While we can't get hands-on with these pieces, understanding the tactile aspect helps us appreciate the artist's intent. Let's do a quick activity. If you have any textured objects nearby, like a pencil, a piece of fabric, a leaf, a button, or other sort of bit or bob, pick it up and feel it. Notice the bumps, the smoothness, or any ridges. Imagine if you had to recreate this texture in your art. What would you do? How would you do it? What materials would you use? Keep that thought as we move on. So, actual texture in art is sometimes referred to as physical texture or tactile texture. That's a fun word, isn't it? Tactile. Tactile means connected to the sense of touch. Consider a sculpture like those by Alberto Giacometti. If you were to run your hand over this rough sculpture, you could feel every sharp ridge and indent. But conversely, take a sculpture by Henry Moore. The smooth curves and polished surface offer a distinctly soothing tactile experience. That is actual texture at work. Actual texture doesn't have to be sculptural, though. Painted works can also have tactile components. Think about the thickly painted canvases by Vincent van Gogh. The paint layers create a texture you can see and feel using a technique called impasto. Impasto uses thick paint that stands out on the canvas. Expanding on this idea, actual texture in art can be created using many different techniques. These include embedding elements like sand or grit, modeling paper pulp or other pliable materials, collaging materials, carving into surfaces, manipulating paper or canvas to create a physical dimensionality, among many other innovative techniques. Keep in mind that texture isn't just used for the sake of adding the sense of touch or for decoration. It's expressive. How do you think actual texture influences the overall feel and impact of an artwork? Imagine how different textures, smooth, rough, soft, hard, can stir up various emotions or sensations in an art piece. For instance, rough textures might convey turmoil, while smooth textures can evoke calmness. Hard textures might symbolize strength, and soft textures could suggest vulnerability. Actual texture in art brings in a tactile dimension that engages our sense of touch, even if we're only able to experience it visually. Each texture adds its own unique voice to the artwork. Take note of a few of these images. Imagine how these artworks would feel to your fingers and consider how the varied textures might influence your emotional connection to each piece. An area to reflect is included in your PDF. As we've discussed, actual texture in art is how things feel and how those tactile experiences can influence a viewer. Let's do a deeper exploration into some artworks where actual texture is featured prominently. We'll look at 3 artworks, each showing a different way of applying texture. I want you to view each artwork closely to identify the different textures you can see and consider their influence on the artwork. Please note down your observations for each in the lesson notes. Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh is a vibrant depiction of a night sky, where actual or physical texture plays a pivotal role in its visual impact. Do you notice the thick, swirling strokes of paint in the sky? Van Gogh used the impasto technique, applying paint thickly to create a raised texture. The swirling patterns of the stars and the moon are especially prominent. Look closer at the cypress tree in the foreground. Can you see how its texture differs from that of the sky? And there's more to observe. How did the textures of other areas vary throughout the painting? What do you think Van Gogh was trying to convey through these different textures? Man Ray's Gift is a famous piece of art where he adds a unique twist to an everyday iron. He attaches a row of sharp spikes to the flat part of the iron. This changes the function of the object, does it not? Could you imagine the texture of spikes used to iron out your clothing? The mix of textures in Gift is important. The smooth surface of the iron is very different from the pointy, sharp spikes. This contrast makes the iron seem both familiar and strange at the same time. Man Ray's work is part of the Dada art movement, which liked to shake up how people thought about art and everyday things. How can the addition of an unexpected texture change an everyday item into art? Try to think up other objects that could be transformed with new textures. Albert Einstein by Lou Hirschman is an artwork that creatively uses different textures to depict Albert Einstein, a famous physicist known for his revolutionary ideas like the theory of relativity and the equation E equals mc squared. Can you discern the different textures that contribute to the piece? Hirschman, known for his imaginative use of found objects, employs a variety of textural elements, ranging from the smooth surfaces of Einstein's face to the rougher details of his iconic hair. Notice how the juxtaposition and layering of different materials with their inherent textures contribute to the character's lively representation. What emotions or characteristics do you think Hirschman is aiming to convey through this combination of texture in his portrait of Einstein? Pause the video and take your time filling out the table in the PDF. Great job diving into texture so far. Some additional images are provided in the lesson PDF that explore the use of actual texture in even more compositions. Feel free to explore these examples further and contemplate how the use of texture contributes to the overall expression and impact of the work. When was the last time you played with Play-Doh or clay? Did you ever use any of those big plastic tools? If you have, you've already explored actual texture. Playing around with clay is a hands-on and super effective way to study actual texture. When you manipulate the clay, you can really feel the texture under your fingers and see how different techniques can create different texture effects. To achieve different textures, you can experiment with numerous techniques and tools. Let's go over some of the methods to create different tactile effects in clay. You can take time after the lesson to try out some of these methods on your own, as this will be a brief demonstration. Impressing textures. Use objects to press into the clay, leaving their imprint. This can be anything from leaves, fabric, or even your own fingers. The depth of the impression can vary to create different effects. Carving. Carving involves removing clay to create a texture or design. Different shaped tools will create different carved lines. Texture rollers and stamps. Use texture rollers or handmade stamps to press patterns into the clay. This is an effective way to achieve consistent and repeatable textures. Adding materials. Incorporate materials into the clay body. This could be sand, small rocks, or other textural additions. Sprigging. Attach small pieces of clay, or sprigs, onto a larger piece. These can be any shape or design, providing a raised texture on your work. As we explored tactile art, we connected touch with art in new ways. We learned about the features of tactile art and saw different examples. We discovered how artists can use touchable elements to make their art appear more engaging and sensory. And by practicing making our own tactile textures, we've gained skills to notice and enjoy actual texture all around us in everyday life. Engaging with actual texture in tactile art is not only stimulating but also insightful. It offers a tangible dimension to your artistic perceptions. Embrace this journey and remember, art is all around you. Hey, hey.